Good morning, everybody. We have today's parasha called Chayei Sarah, the life of Sarah. Sarah, our matriarch, just passed away, and as soon as Abraham buried her in the famous plot called Me'arat HaMachpelah in the city of Hebron, the first thing he did was he decided to look for a wife for his son Yitzchak. Already he was getting old; he was 40 years old, and he needed to find him a nice wife, which will be the future matriarch of the Jewish nation. So what does he do? He goes to his most entrusted servant. The Torah introduces us to him. His name is Eliezer. And he tells him the following words. Vayomer Avraham, and Abraham said, Elafta, to his trusted servant, Zekan Beito. Look at the introduction we get to Eliezer. Zekan Beito, the elders of his house. Hamosha B'kol HaShelo, that rules everything he has. Everything Avraham Avinu had. So here we see the Torah starts off saying that Eliezer is in charge of everything Abraham owned. What did Abraham own? We know the Torah tells us Abraham was very rich. He had real estate. He owned cattle. He was very rich at the time. He owned a lot. He had a very big portfolio. And he trusted his servant Eliezer with everything Abraham had. So he must be a very trusted person. But in the same verse, what does it say straight away afterwards? Simna yadecha tachat yarechi. Oh, I don't trust you so much. I want you to go and find a wife for my son Isaac, who's going to be the future matriarch. I don't trust you so much. Put your hand, simna yadecha, place your hand under my thigh. What does this mean? This is a way of, in the olden days, of taking an oath to make sure that you're going to do what I tell you. And he's made him swear in the name of God, the God of the heavens and the God of the land, that not to take a wife for my son Yitzchak, for my son Isaac, from the Canaanite people, which we're not going to get into now. They had bad midot, they had bad character traits. Right? That he said, take a wife from my place of birth, where I come from, because they're my family and I know the people. Fine, that's the story. But the question is, if our rabbis and our sages ask, if the Torah gives such a great introduction to Abraham's servant, he trusted him with everything he had. He ruled over all his properties. He ruled over all his portfolio. He was the CEO of Abraham. And he trusted him with everything. How could it be when it came to taking a wife for his son Isaac, here he didn't trust him? Here he says, here I need you to place your hand under my thigh and take an oath that you're going to get the right wife for my son, the place where I send you to. How could it be that one time he trusts him and one time he doesn't? And our sages answer, there's a famous story of Rabbi Yehuda, who went traveling, collecting money for funds, and he came to a certain inn. And there he goes to the inn, he's eating his dinner, and it's like a hotel. And while he's eating his dinner in the middle, the owner of the inn comes and interrupts him and says to him, Yisrael Salant was a great sage, lived 200 years ago. He looked the par, he had a big, white beard, looked a great, righteous rabbi. So the owner of the inn comes up to him and says, Rabbi, can you do me a favor, please? So the rabbi says, Rabbi Yisrael Salant says, I'm in the middle of eating dinner, but if I can help you, I'll help you. What do you need? He says, I have extra people tonight I didn't expect in my hotel, and I'm short of beef. So I have a cow outside. If you can come and slaughter it for me, I really, really appreciate it. It'll help me out. You have to understand, in those days, it wasn't like today. You just go to the store and you can just order over the phone for more chicken, more beef. You had to there was no delivery service like that. You had to actually have the cow, the chickens, you had to slaughter it. So he asked him, please, I need more beef. Can you come and slaughter the animal I have? So Rabbi Yisrael looked at the owner and he says, I tell you the truth, I wish I could help you in this one, but I can't. I don't have a certificate, a diploma of slaughtering animals. I haven't yet. That's not my job. That's not something that I don't do. So I don't know how to do that. Thank you. And the owner goes back to his place. Rabbi Yisrael continues to eat. The next morning, before the rabbi, Rabbi Yisrael Salant leaves the inn, he leaves the hotel. He says, I want to teach the owner of the hotel a great lesson. So he goes up to him and he says, sir, do you remember me from last night? What you wanted me to do while I was eating? He goes, yes. How was your stay? Everything's fine. He says, look, I'm going today, but before I go, I have a great business opportunity. I don't want you to miss out. So he goes, really? What is that? He says, no problem. All I need is 10,000 rubles from you. Give me 10,000 rubles, and I have an investment that I'm going to make, and I'm going to double your money in 6 months. So the owner looks at the rabbi. He says, Rabbi, you want 10,000 rubles from me? I mean, who are you? I don't know who you are. What's your name? Who are you? What kind of business do you work in? What experience do you have with money? Well, show me your credentials, show me who you are, and maybe afterwards we'll sit on the table and we talk business, Rabbi. No, but in the meantime, I ain't giving you a penny. So Rabbi Yisrael Salanta looks at the owner of the inn and he says to him, my dear friend, I want you to listen to what your ears just said. Last night, you had no idea who I was. I might look a rabbi, but you had no idea who I was, and you came over to me, and you have 50, 60 people eating in your restaurant. And you entrusted me to slaughter your animal outside. Then you asked me to show you my credentials. Did you ask me my name? You asked me to know if I've ever slaughtered an animal before? But when it comes to giving people kosher food, you don't really care. You just look at somebody who looks like religious, and you say, okay, please, do me a favor, slaughter the animals. But when it comes to business, you're very, very careful. For every dollar you're careful, you start asking me a lot of questions. Rabbi Yisrael Salant says it should be the opposite. When it comes to spirituality, when it comes to eating kosher, when it comes to buying tefillin, when it comes to putting up a mezuzah in your house, you don't just go to somebody and say, oh, get me mezuzah, do me something. Let's see who wrote the mezuzah, who wrote the tefillin, what kind of kashrut is this, what kind of kosher certification is this. He told him, when it comes to spirituality, you have to double check, you have to triple check. When it comes to physicality, things of business, okay, fine, obviously you have to be careful. We're not telling you to do business deals like that. But at least you should be the same careful you are when it comes to dealing with money and investing your money in business and spirituality too. Has to be equal to. That's what the rabbi told this innkeeper. And this answers our story, ladies and gentlemen. Abraham made his servant Eliezer in charge of all his portfolio. Everything he had in his house, all his business. When it came to money, when it came to business, yes, Eliezer, you're in charge. You're fine. I trust you with everything. But here, when it came to spirituality, when it came to the future of the Jewish nation, who's going to marry his son Isaac? Who's going to be the next matriarch of the Jewish nation? Eliezer, here I don't trust you. Give me your hand, put it on my thigh, make an oath. Abraham did exactly the opposite. When it came to dealing with money, he trusted Eliezer, his trusted servant, with everything. When it came to spirituality, for the future of the Jewish nation, he did not trust him. He said, take an oath for me. Give me an oath. Ladies and gentlemen, we see a very valuable lesson here in life. Many people, when it comes, when people before their bar mitzvahs, here in Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, I go to bar mitzvahs sometimes, that cost over $200,000 in the Beverly Hilton. They prepared everything before. A year before, they already prepared the hall, the flowers, the cameraman, the video guy, name it, the food, the menu, everything is prepared in such detail. A week before the bar mitzvah, they come up to me, oh Rabbi, we forgot to buy tefillin for our son. You've been preparing this bar mitzvah for 1 year. Tefillin, the most important thing the bar mitzvah boy, wears. You forgot to buy your tefillin? Where can I get it from? Can I just go to any store and buy it? Well, did you just have your bar mitzvah anywhere? You made sure that everything is perfect when it came to your son's bar mitzvah. Everything is in every detail. And that's how it should be for tefillin too. For buying a talit, for buying tzitzit, for buying a mezuzah. Don't just go and buy it from people you don't know. Make sure you know who wrote the tefillin, who wrote the mezuzah, where does the certificate come, proof of kashrut come from. And that's the way life should be. We should live our lives. We should treat spirituality and the physicality at least equal. And this is the lesson we learn from Abraham. When it came to his business, he trusted Eliezer. But when it came to spirituality, the future of Am Yisrael, he didn't trust him. B'ezrat Hashem, with this, our lives will be much better. B'ezrat Hashem, with happiness and simcha always. Amen. Amen.